Join us for a review of the all-new Audi Q3 Sportback. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. And now, let's go. In the front, Q3 and Q3 Sportback are somewhat similar indeed, with this huge front grille, but very, big stands on the road. Here the S-Line package with a lot of sporty contrast, lower part, and also those silver contrast right there. So beautiful job, I think. And also has those special bright accentuations inside the honeycomb structure of the front grille. Turbo blue, yes, great color here for today. A real Thomas blue, a bright, strong blue, as we call it here on Autogefuel. Then those headlamps, they come LED as standard. Different trims available. The second trim already offers those turning indicators, which are in this cascading style. 4 meters 50, 14 foot 8, or 177 inches is the length of the Q3 Sportback. That's 2 centimeters longer than the normal Q3, which, continues like that. But that's just, overhang from the spoilers. But it looks a little bit longer because it's a little bit flatter. So about 3 centimeters flatter here in this whole roofline. And then of course it's falling down right there even more, like all those SUV coupes as they are called. 17 to maximum 20-inch wheels. Those ones are the biggest 20-inch wheels. Then with those contrasting wheel arches, but there's not black plastic. You could see it's also painted then in black. Very interesting. S-Line badge. Then wow, this turbo blue color looks amazing. And this one here also has this sporty stance right there. I definitely wanted to show you the 3/4 rear perspective. This is really impressive. And I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of SUV coupes or those cut-off SUVs, but I think in this case it really works very well design-wise. Or what's your take on that? And the straight rear perspective for you, definitely this is design object. So the main reason to go for the Q3 Sportback and not for the normal Q3 is design. Yes. All 4-cylinder engines here, and front-wheel drive for the smaller ones, all-wheel drive for the bigger ones. Look at that one here. This one is the new 1.5-liter turbo petrol engine with 150 horsepower and a mild hybrid system. So coasting or sailing between 40 and 160 kilometers an hour, for example, and an electric boost, 10 seconds, 12 horsepower, very interesting. 6-speed manual gearbox, front-wheel drive, or optional the 7-speed DSG, the S-Tronic. Then there is a 2-liter turbo petrol engine with 190 horsepower or 230. Had the 230 one all with the Q3 review, check out that one. Always made it to a 7-speed DCT or S-Tronic as they call it, and all-wheel drive. And then a diesel 2-liter, 2 horsepower specs, 150 or 190. And then also the first one with manual and the other one then with the S-Tronic and also AWD or front-wheel drive. S-Line entry badge in the lower part. Then here, of course, we also have the S-Line interior. Then soon more to all the digital instruments and so on. This one is a sporty steering wheel with a flat bottom. Then a lot of black piano lacquer is being used. That they are not, my favorite, but can't be everything in my favorite. Also not those animal skin seats. They cost a lot of extra money and really warm in summer times and cold in winter times. But I can tell you, there are, at least in Europe, fabric seats available, both in normal form, and then this one is a sport seat, so 2 seat forms, normal and sport seats. And for both, you can get it all in fabric. And for this seats, you could also get more Alcantara. It's a mixing of Alcantara, leatherette, and some animal parts. But this one here is the one with most animal parts. But Overall, Audi here in the Q3 and Q3 Sportback already reduced the amounts of animal skin parts. It's not a super high SUV, but also not a somewhat more low crossover, something in between, 1.86 or 6'1", and without the panoramic roof, you can get a lot of headroom right there, so you can get a cozy seating position also as a tall driver. This front part here is manually. Interior overview, first of all, a very clean layout and interesting here with the Alcantara dash and an additional Audi logo. Yeah, a lot of black piano lacquer here again. You have to clean this all over the place, definitely. And the sporty steering wheel, but could be a little bit smaller, maybe. Right side for the volume control, left side to control the digital instruments right there. By the way, if you see the check engine light, that's always the case when the ignition is on. It will just fade out when you turn on the engine actually. Soft touch here at the top of the dashboard, and then there will be different screen layouts available. It starts here with 8.8, a smaller one. Optional this, 10.1 inch. And on the left side, always digital instruments, but it starts with a 10.25 inch and then optional 12.3 inch. Come on, why don't you just put this one and that's it? Two different sizes of digital instruments? Seriously? Yeah. But soon more details to this top setup. Here, this one here still has my favorite climate unit. Clicking sound and nice LED visualization and easy to control it while driving, and a volume knob in the lower part. Drive select right here. Soon talking more about the drive modes. And the lower part you have an inductive charging pad. That's cool because you now also have wireless Apple CarPlay. Still also available with cable connection. For example, right side here, USB-C now and the classic USB, both are available in the front. Then you have the automatic shifting lever. Below that, adaptive cup holders, they do a good job. And then there's this armrest, which is well attached and some more space underneath. So overall, the offering of space in the interior in the front here is quite good. And those top virtual instruments, you can change the view, have the full GPS map or have more of your driving data and so on, all via touch. And there's just the touch control indeed. You can connect your phone via Bluetooth or here the Apple CarPlay. In this case, I've already connected this wirelessly. So now to the rear door, and well, in the front there weren't too many differences. The rear, by the way, hardback top part and Alcantara inserts here and reasonable door space also. And we have somewhat the same styling here in the rear. You can always see they have a little bit less legroom than in the normal Q3. The difference is that the rear bench can be moved front and the back 15 centimeters in normal Q3 and 13 centimeters right here. So again, you lose 2 centimeters of legroom. And that means that, it directly fits here with 4 tall adults. Well, some disadvantages in the rear compartment, but what about the trunk? Well, first of all, the trunk liter capacity is 530 liters. That's identical to the one of the non-Sportback Q3. The reason is it's measured below this cover here, and you lose the height above the cover. Yeah, so that only plays a role if you really stack it up all the way to the window, maybe for going on holiday with the whole family. Then of course the normal Q3 is better, and the full with flipped seats capacity, there you have a difference of 1,400 to 1,525 liter in the normal Q3. So that's the difference then. And then we can have the full flip like this. Yeah, I can push this one here a little bit further down. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Audi Q3 Sportback, here with the 1.5 liter TSI turbo petrol engine, 7-speed dual clutch transmission. S-Tronic is their brand name for that. Alternatively, it would be a 6-speed manual gearbox, and since we are in those winding mountain corners here, we put the dynamic mode. Then the RPMs go a little bit higher. The car keeps in a rather lower gears, and we have a sportier driving fun. We have the adaptive suspension here. Remember, the sport suspension would be standard for the Q3 Sportback, but you can easily opt for the normal suspension without any extra costs. And then optional, the adaptive suspension, which is, again, adapting to the settings you have and also constantly adapting even inside those settings. And this makes a wider span of comfort and sportiness at the same time. So here in the sports mode, we have a little bit more feedback from suspension. That's good here because the roads are very well paved here at the moment. So there are no comfort losses in this case. Then of course you will lose some comfort then in the sports mode when there's some bumps in the road. And the big wheels here on the car, yeah, I mean, for sporty driving they're quite cool now, but if you want more comfort you could also go for smaller ones. And the car feels very well balanced, also very well to control, so that's pretty cool. Now we go a little bit slower, soon we go a little bit faster again. You see also I don't have to steer that much, so this steering is very progressive, as we say here. So the more you steer, the more input there is also, and then you can keep both hands at the steering wheel all the time, especially this progressive steering together with the adaptive suspension. So now a little bit faster in acceleration. This 1.5 liter turbo petrol engine is also enough as for the performance. Now we're going a little bit faster in the corner here. Wow, that feels very nice. Pretty cool. Look at that. So how stable the car remains, and we're still talking about the SUV segment here, or at least crossover, and this is giving me fantastic feedback, fantastic feeling from the steering. And also the lane assist is not intervening. We recently had that, for example, in the Skoda Kamiq, which is of course a little bit smaller, but we had to deactivate the lane assist and when we were doing those winding corners. But here actually it maybe realizes what we're doing, and so it's not intervening at all at the moment. It's also deactivating itself partly, and wow, I'm almost feeling like we are on the Nordschleife. I'm not, exceeding any speed limit here, but that feels fantastic. And I would buy such a vehicle when I want more comfort, more higher seating position and so on, and that's the case here indeed with the car. But at the same time, sometimes you lose driving fun then, maybe like sporty driving fun with the SUVs, but here not at all. So we're in the Black Forest region here for you today, Schwarzwald, the famous German Schwarzwald, and actually the opposite side than we were in the in the area in France. So very interesting also geologically. Got to look up the history, like 65 million years ago. Everything went down and there was erosion on both sides, so it was almost 4,000 meters high, and now today it's 1,000 meters because there was like millions of years of erosion. Pretty interesting geological story here, and this is just a fantastic ride. Here now the road gets a little bit rougher. In the sports mode we also feel that a little bit more, but still pretty cool. And again, enough power, although also we are going uphill all the time. There is also this electric boost function from this small generator, about 12 horsepower, when I'm really throwing it out. But I mean, it's not that you would directly realize it. Now also this recuperation function that is possible, also not that you directly realize that. Soon after this dynamic part, we'll also take this car out a little bit more on some more calmer roads and more everyday driving life experience and so on. So I can tell you more about that. At the moment, rather the fun, agile driving. And is there any difference, the Q3 and Q3 Sportback? As for that, not really. It depends on the suspension you pick. That's making most difference. Wow, look at I can really just when it's 90 degrees corner, I need to turn the steering wheel 90 degrees. That's fantastic. So what a great driving experience here. And now to our conclusion for today with the Audi Q3 Sportback. Exterior design, yes, definitely sportier than the normal Q3, and also inside this segment, a really sporty and likable design. So with this little bit flatter roofline and so on, and especially here in the S-line and those big wheels, it looks really sporty. Always have to think about that the bigger wheels, of course, cost you some comfort. But overall, especially with the adaptive suspension, such a smooth ride, both very comfortable and very surprisingly sporty here in those winding corners. So just a flawless job in the driving part, among the best in segment. Interior also with the high quality. There are also non-animal skin choices available, which are also doing a great job. So you have a choice right here. Also interesting Alcantara accentuations, a little bit more daring, this interior concept. You lose a little bit of practicability if you compare it to the normal Q3, It's a little bit less legroom, but still it's a quite versatile car overall. If you see that, you can still use it as a primary vehicle in your everyday driving life, so that still works very well. Well, and then overall about this MHEV system here, the turbo petrol engine, yeah, you can get it low to 6 liters on 1 kilometer. That's good. And if you like really hammer it in those winding corners, we got maximum of about 9 liters. But still, that's a very acceptable figure than at least the lower one, of course. So a very interesting concept and a car where, most people can do something with. Not too big, not too small, comfortable enough, surprisingly sporty. Yeah, so overall, very good rating we can give here about the Audi Q3 Sportback. I hope you really enjoyed this episode here today. And, as always, with most of the Audi cars, yeah, when it comes to pricing, that's definitely the biggest downside. So, what's your take? What's your feedback? Please leave me in the comments and also join us next time.